It was a quiet Sunday afternoon when Mia first noticed something strange. She lived in a peaceful neighborhood, surrounded by tall trees, chirping birds, and friendly faces. The houses were well kept, and everyone seemed to get along. But there was one neighbor, Mr. Adams, who lived in the house next door, who had always been a bit distant. Mia often saw him in his garden working tirelessly, though she rarely spoke to him. One afternoon, while walking to the mailbox, Mia glanced over at Mr. Adams' garden and noticed a woman standing in it, picking flowers. She didn't recognize her. Mia was curious but thought nothing of it at first. Over the next few days, however, the woman appeared more frequently. Every time Mia passed by, she saw the woman in the garden, sometimes alone, sometimes with Mr. Adams. Something felt off. Mia's mind began to wander. She had been friends with Mr. Adams' wife, Sarah, for many years. Sarah was kind and always had a warm smile. But lately Mia hadn't seen Sarah around as much. She used to come over for coffee every weekend, but now Mia hardly heard from her. When Mia asked Mr. Adams about Sarah, he always had a vague answer, claiming she was busy with work or spending time with family. The suspicion started to grow in Mia's mind. Could there be something going on between Mr. Adams and this mysterious woman? Mia didn't want to jump to conclusions, but it was hard not to notice the late-night conversations and the secretive glances exchanged between the two. Something wasn't right and Mia couldn't ignore it anymore. Purpose of the section. In this section, we introduce the setting and the central mystery: Mia's growing suspicion about the neighbor's relationship. This section builds the emotional tension, drawing the reader into the mystery of infidelity without revealing too much. As the days went by, Mia couldn't shake off the feeling that something was wrong. She had always been a good listener, and her friendship with Sarah made her want to reach out. One evening, Mia decided to call Sarah. It had been weeks since their last conversation, and she missed her friend. To her surprise, Sarah answered, but her voice sounded distant, almost tired. "Hi, Sarah. It's Mia. I just wanted to check in. I haven't seen you in ages," Mia said, trying to keep her tone light. "Oh, Mia, I've just been so busy with work and everything. You know how it is," Sarah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I understand," Mia said, though she couldn't help but feel that something was off. "I was just thinking about you. If you're free sometime, maybe we could have coffee like old times." There was a long pause on the other end. Finally, Sarah replied, "Maybe, but I don't think I can right now. Things are just complicated." The conversation ended shortly after that, leaving Mia with even more questions. What did Sarah mean by complicated? Why was she avoiding Mia? Mia's curiosity was piqued, and she decided to take matters into her own hands. The next day, while Mr. Adams was out, Mia carefully went into his garden, pretending to admire the flowers. She noticed the familiar woman's gardening gloves left behind, along with a half-filled watering can. As Mia examined the items more closely, she saw something that made her heart race: a small, delicate necklace lying on the ground. It looked exactly like the one Sarah used to wear. Mia's suspicions were now confirmed. The woman in the garden wasn't just a neighbor or a friend. She was someone who had been spending a lot of time with Sarah's husband. Purpose of the section. This section reveals the truth behind Mia's suspicions and shows her growing sense of betrayal and confusion. It emphasizes the emotional impact of uncovering infidelity, highlighting how the discovery of the necklace deepens Mia's emotional. Mia couldn't keep the secret to herself any longer. She had to confront Sarah. The next day she called her again, but this time, Sarah agreed to meet for coffee. When they sat down in their usual cafe, Sarah looked exhausted, as though the weight of something heavy was pressing down on her. "I don't know how to say this, Sarah, but I've noticed something," Mia started carefully. "There's been a woman in your garden. I think she's spending a lot of time with Mr. Adams. I found one of your necklaces there." Sarah's face went pale. Her hand shook slightly as she took a sip of her coffee, her eyes not meeting Mia's. I didn't want you to find out like this," Sarah finally said, her voice breaking. "I've been avoiding you because I didn't know how to explain. I've been trying to hold it together, but it's been so hard." Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes as she continued. "I found out a few months ago that my husband was seeing someone else. At first I thought it was just a phase, but then I saw the truth. The woman in the garden is someone he's been seeing for a while. I don't know what to do anymore. Mia's heart ached for her friend. She reached out, holding Sarah's hand across the table. I had no idea. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I've been trying to fix things, but nothing seems to work. I'm not sure if I can forgive him, and I don't even know if I can leave. It's all so painful, Mia, Sarah confessed. Mia sat with Sarah for hours, listening to her pain, trying to offer comfort. But in her heart, Mia couldn't shake the feeling that Sarah's world had been turned upside down by a betrayal that seemed impossible to fix. Purpose of this section. This section shows the emotional climax of the story. Sarah's confession is heartbreaking, and the reader feels the emotional weight of the situation. The confrontation adds depth to the story, focusing on the pain of infidelity and the emotional struggle that comes with it. The following weeks were difficult for both Sarah and Mia. Sarah was unsure whether she should stay with her husband or leave him. She spent hours talking to a counselor, trying to understand her feelings. Meanwhile, Mia was there to support her, even though her heart was heavy with the knowledge of what had been going on. One evening, as Mia walked past Mr. Adams' house, she saw him in the garden once again, but this time he was alone. His shoulders were slumped, and his face looked older than it had before. There was a sense of finality in the air, and Mia knew that the affair was over. The woman had stopped coming, and Sarah had made the difficult decision to separate. Mia felt a mix of relief and sadness. She wanted to believe that things would get better for Sarah, but she knew that healing would take time. As for Mr. Adams, Mia wasn't sure what his future held, but she hoped he would learn from his mistakes. In the end, Mia realized that while infidelity had torn apart a family, it had also shown her the importance of friendship and honesty. She would stand by Sarah no matter what, and help her rebuild her life one step at a time.